Hi guys, welcome back to White Crow Tarot. My name is Ebony. This is a message for the collective. Actually, at this time. I actually started I was doing a reading, honestly guys, just for myself and just for me personally, but the more I got into it, the more I really felt like this wasn't just meant for me, if that makes sense. The energy I'm receiving and reviewing right now is, I feel like more for the collective, and especially the divine feminine at this time. So yeah, we're just gonna I'm gonna go into my thought process as I was working out the cards, and also just so you kind of have an idea of what it is. And it's, yeah, pardon my nails, they're a work in progress, bear with. Alright, if you are new to White Crow Tarot, welcome guys. My name is Ebony. If I didn't say that, I think I did at the very beginning. And this is White Crow Tarot. Hi. Welcome back. For those of you who are regular visitors of the channel, hopefully there's a message in here for you. Anyway, let's get into it. Okay, so I was working with my Aradia Oracle deck, which Aradia, of course, is sacred divine feminine of Western European witchcraft, a divine teacher, and of course heralded as probably one of the most known witches of the modern age, right? Where the scarlet letter comes from, the A, Aradia, right? So anyway, maybe some of you are just learning more about her, or working with her, or you're studying more Western civ culture backgrounds of the tarot, mysticism, divination, the arts, whatever. It doesn't matter. I was drawn to use this deck today, and I pulled a very interesting spread, starting with the unknown card, and which is a gate. And I'll get into this because we actually have two gates in the reading. And on one side of the gate of the unknown, which the unknown I always feel talks to me about the runes, and the runes are really actually kind of popping out in this deck for me. The unknown of what we are going forward as the choices we want to make as a culture. It's like I'm feeling like we have two options, and the cards that were drawn here pull that, really talk hard about that, talking about the potential that we have to create our worlds in any way that we choose. On one side of this gate, we have the pilgrimage, which is about teaching. It's about going on a personal journey of self-discovery, and it's also about like your mission. What is your mission? What are you here to do? I think this is talking to us, a lot of us right now currently, who are asking that question about your divine purpose, or getting to know that side of you even deeper. And for Aradia especially, she was not only a very knowledgeable person, she went on pilgrimages herself. And sometimes, these pilgrimages could have been to teach others, or it could have been simply for more self-discovery. Whatever pilgrimage you find yourself on right now is a part of your journey. And I feel like there's a question, though, of like two paths for the collective, especially the divine femme right now. And it relates to, I think, marriage, and it also relates to how our roles in society as women, how that has been altered and shifted and changed over the course of the past several hundred years, and over the course of as far back as we can remember, where there's recorded history of how the indoctrination of marriage, or the institution of marriage, and where that comes from. And I say that because the choice that we have to make coming up is in regards to the Queen. The Queen is talking about, at some point, a woman has to, of course, back in the times when this would have been applicable, a woman would have to leave her home like a prince or a queen, or in order to become a queen, she would have to be removed from her home and marry into her husband's home, and oftentimes that involved moving to a different part of the world, or to her husband's domain or country. She would wind up having to leave behind aspects of her family and her culture in order to embrace the masculine culture, or the masculine dominated culture for what that was at the time. And that is, but in doing so, it kind of also relates back to the story of Persephone and of Demeter. When Persephone, of course, had to leave her mother when Hades, took her to be his bride in the underworld, that required Persephone to have to leave her mother. And Demeter was heartbroken over this. There's something about the eradication of being removed from one's family, but it also became kind of like a rite of passage for Persephone, because it required her to have to become the queen of the underworld, which meant, yes, the act of leaving something that was known to her was very frightening, but it forced her to have to grow and become a dominant and a powerhouse in a new environment, to the point where she became the boss of that environment, right? She became the ruler of that environment. She became a sovereign of the underworld, of that realm. It forced it, and her being taken away from something that was known to her and put into something that was unknown to her over time, through the mixing and molding of that energy, of that synergy, she found herself. So that what once was unknown or confusing became known and mendable. It forced her to change. It forced her to grow. It forced her to become ultimately who she was also meant to be. And Persephone also wound up loving Hades in spite of it all, right? She found out she wound up loving who she had become in spite of the circumstances that led her to become. Okay? What is that being called to ask in each of us? That it's like, well, for many of us who say don't believe in the traditional route of marriage, for many of you out there who question that, and that's not to, mind you, I'm not here to denounce the institution of marriage. That's not what I'm here to do. I'm here just to talk simplistically about, practically, I should say, about how we view these concepts. Okay? Many of you don't. Many of you don't want to have to do it the way our ancestors did it, right? Or if you do want to go through these rites and these rites of passage as a woman, as a man, whatever, you want to do it on your own terms. And my question is kind of like, well, why can't we have it all, right? This is the energy we're facing on one half of the door. On the other half of the door, or the other door, we have the hierarchy. The hierarchy is another gate. And it symbolizes kind of like the powers that be, the institutions that are in place that dictate, that tell us how we're supposed to be in this world, right? Which brings up the energy of the shadow which we are all kind of facing. Aradia would tell us that the shadow, of course, would have to come up because we all have to face the fear of our choices, the fear in our choices, no matter what they are, whatever our choices are. She was also able to have a life she was able to become a profound healer, a profound mystic, a profound person of worth, intelligence. She taught, she was a teacher, but she was also a mother. She was also royalty, you know? And there's something in that too, that why can't you have it all? Why can't you be both? So anyway, because underlying the entire reading, we have union and synergy after that. Synergy, I just said that at the beginning of the reading. Okay, we have this union here, underlying this agreement of how things should be, partnerships. So it's all relating back to this core concept of partnerships to begin with and what that looks like for each of us. How you go about them. I'm not here to tell you that. I don't know. Okay? The question is here. So now I broke down the tarot. What is this? What is this unknown, right? That we're all so afraid of coming into. And it has to do with two knights here, right? A Knight of Cups and a Knight of Pentacles. Something of a love offer being made and being received slowly but surely. Received practically, right? It's funny that the woman on this squirrel, a gathering, right, of our resources. There's that. It feels like, help me channel this correctly. I'll tell you my thought process as I'm getting into it. What I see coming up is this movement of resources to the King of Cups. Let's say the King of Cups is fictitiously kind of being depicted here as the king or the masculine in this sense. In this sense, the woman would be required to leave her home in order to travel to the masculine. That is the typical way this would be done. And we have the Ten of Wands to the Ten of Pentacles, right? It's an establishment of wealth, resources, and a lot of work, right? A lot of work. But what's fun or interesting about this particular Ten of Wands is this man, he's kind of has like his foot up. He's holding 8 wands. There's 2 on the ground behind him. And he's kind of jovially going about his task. We can't see it on his face because it's hiding his face. But you know, while this is a lot of work, there seems to be kind of a pep in his step. The sun is out. Okay? You can tell he's traveling. He's doing some kind of traveling here with the cart in the background. There's movement happening. So one home is being moved and built into another. One person is traveling to be with the other, whatever that may be. And there's a lot of work involved here. There's even fear involved here, but it's almost like this fear of the unknown, of change. And that ultimately is going to lead to some form of success, or at the very least, the some sort of structure in a family home environment. And it seems to be welcomed here by the King of Cups, whoever that is. Masculine or feminine, there's a positive outcome here of our internal emotions. Also, the Queen of Swords is part of this little duo over here. The Queen of Swords is at the end of this little story that's happening here, which is telling me it's like king and queen. Some choice, some decision is going to be made, and the feminine here, I feel like, It's all your choice is what I feel the need to say. It's like, if you're going to do this, if you're going to enter into some form of partnership or marriage out of convenience or out of pure force of change of will, you're going to do it, but you want to be the boss of how you do it. Okay? You want to have sovereignty over yourself. And we have a cow or a steer here with the Queen of Pentacles, which is oftentimes, I like, in this particular deck, I don't see the Queen of Swords, the Queen of Swords as almost as an air sign, maybe because this steer is depicted here with her. Of course, she's an air sign, but it's almost like there's earth attached to her. There's resource attached to her. There's a lot of knowledge attached to her, too, because she's been around, ring around the roses, as I like to say on my channel. She's been hurt. The Queen of Swords has experience. She knows how to make sound decisions for herself. So collective, and my divine femmes out there, I know that whatever decision you're making about what marriage or partnership or your identity looks like in this life, you are doing so from a place of experience, okay? From a place of knowing your shit. And also, you've collected a lot of shit, right? You've done the work as well, I feel like, divine femme. I know this to be true, and I'll tell you how I know this to be true. Anyway, so, taking all the resources, work, and knowledge that you have, divine femme, or divine masculine, I don't care. Anyway, I say divine femme, and I feel like it's that because the Queen of Swords kind of has her back to this situation. It's telling me that it's behind you. The unknown is what you have already accumulated. Okay? Next, we have the pilgrimage, and I see you moving quickly, Knight of Swords, at this journey that could involve even travel. And something about a white buffalo is very significant here. You may be seeing white animals, or maybe you're wearing a lot of white. There's something very pure about this. And again, another steer here. The buffalo, you may want to look up the animal significance or symbolism of the buffalo, which is about resources, and resources sustain a tribe, right? It's about what sustains us, not only us individuals, but us as a community, as a collective, as a whole, as the institution of this divine energy, okay? Of our species even, all right? Let me not get ahead of myself. There's a lot of energy trying to come through. All right. A lot. High Priestess, you know the Queen. The Queen holds the High Priestess, the Seven of Swords, and the Six of Wands here. Under the Queen. All right. What you know, Queen, is that I feel like for some of you, I feel like you're having to quietly leave situations. There's this energy of having to leave something behind in order to go after, in order to become the person that you're meant to become. You're meant to be this teacher, this person that, now, you don't have to be. I'm just saying, it feels like there's this energy of teaching coming through. Teaching others about what you know. And whatever expertise you're an expert in. It doesn't matter, okay? That's not really the importance here. But there's a sense of having to leave behind what you've known in order to become this figure, okay? And that's the part where I'm talking about in the beginning of moving from one home into another. Whether that's a job, something has to be let go in order for you to go after the new thing, okay? Something has to be released. This is what you know. But the Seven of Swords is very interesting here because He's looking back over his shoulder, and he is holding 4 swords in his hand. There's 2 on his back. He's making some decision. This decision isn't easy for him. It's not easy. I feel like he looks back because he knows he's leaving his dogs behind. You know, he's leaving the wolves behind. He's leaving the pack behind. And maybe that's partly what you're doing, collective. You're having to leave some element of the pack behind while you go on this pilgrimage, because you're going into an unknown, right? It's an unknown venture, an unknown journey, but only one that you can take. And you have to do it by yourself at first. And then it's like maybe energies will meet you. Okay? Like these energies are going to follow quickly rather behind you with this knight here. But it's very quiet. Hush, hush. High Priestess. And it's emotional. Also, the High Priestess, I see an infant here with her for the first time. Something about green as well with the heart chakra. And she's pointing to the water symbol in the Torah. You could have a child. That is a water symbol of significance. Of course, this is a Piscean energy with the High Priestess here. So naturally, maybe Pisces falls heavily in your chart, but also you are this High Priestess. I feel like you are this knowing person. But also what you know is something. The new moon is going to bring it in for you. This new moon that we also have just had in Gemini. Or maybe we're still kind of in the shadow energy of this new moon, right? It's bringing out this confidence in you to be who you're meant to be, I feel like, in this lifetime, which is having victory, having some form of success and abundance, right? Okay? But it requires you to go on a journey, and also something about connecting with your inner child. It is solely within you. Okay? 2:34 on the clock as I say that. All right, 22:34. Anyway, where am I going with this? The pillars are really drawing me here with the High Priestess, because we have the black and white pillars, which symbolize our dark and light, right? The shadow and the higher self. Both of these come with the High Priestess, which requires integration. Integration is also what I've been told here recently. Something about integration, the ability to merge both sides of ourselves, the shadow and the light, not being afraid of either. The unknown versus what we do know. The High Priestess guards all of that. The known and the unknown, the veil of consciousness. And it has to do, with our sovereignty, energy of the coccyx bone, which is the tip of the sacrum, which has to do with our security and our foundation, right? So it's about where we set up home, how we define ourselves in society, the home of our partners, of our home. Forget a partner. Where do you call home? This essence of home within yourself, okay? That's important. When you know what that is, where you've established what that is when you will come into your own. That in itself is like a pilgrimage. It's a passage, okay? And that is where you will find some sort of victory and success in the discovery of, and also like your purpose, what you're here to do. I know none of this makes sense. Bear with. All right. Because next you have the hierarchy. Again, like challenge number 1. You went through one door and you've established all this for yourself. You've stepped into some role as queen or king or sovereign, ruler. And you had to leave behind an aspect of yourself that either no longer serves you, or it could be an element of family, it could be whatever. Whatever you've left in the past, there's no going back. There's no going back there. But now, challenge number 2. Here's the next door that you have to face, collective, which is coming up against the institutions that already persist, that be, as of right now, okay? What that looks like for you, I don't know. But I see you doing a lot of meditating. And I see really a lot of astral travel here. The 4 of Swords to the Chariot, that is straight astral travel, if I'm being quite honest with you. And the Empress, clarifying this growth and abundance. And I'm really drawn here to the double helix kind of symbol. I forget what this is called on the runes, but it's this, obviously, it's Venus. It's semblance of the divine feminine here. But it also kind of looks like a double helix, and it's about birth. It's about creation, right? And it's funny, we have the Empress here. For some of you, again, this is relating back to just institutionalized versions of marriage and our perceptions about what that looks like, what we want it to even look like moving forward. Okay, there's like literally moving forward. What do we want the divine feminine, the Empress, to look like moving forward? And we're protected. We have new guardians. Again, we had to leave behind the old guard. The old guard here. God. Okay, sorry. Lots more trying to come in here. We had to leave behind the old guard, the 2 wolves here, to embrace the new guard here. And there's something about the 4 walls, right? The 4 of Swords, the 4 walls, the stability also of our minds and of our thoughts and of who we are, right? That's going to somehow dictate our forward movement and ascension here with the Chariot, Cancer energy, and also the lotus flower. It has to do with love. It's in the form of love and what that looks like. What we want our partnerships and our relationships to look like moving forward. And in the energy of Venus with the Empress, oh yeah, that makes a lot of sense. But it needs to be... There's something about a gate, and we have 2 gates here. A gate. There's something about, you won't know until you're on the other side of it. And it's also something about practices and developments that you are coming into, learn as you go, learn as you grow kind of an energy. This path has never been traveled before, is what I feel the need to say. So you're laying the way, paving the way for new ground. We're all doing this to a degree. It's never been done before. So we're paving the way that's never been done before, okay? So, there's a lot of unknowns that are going to happen here. The future is unknown, but we're going to take it step by step with the pilgrimage here. Feet can be important for somebody. All right. But the outcome is also something very beautiful that we don't see coming with the Empress here. All right. The potential outcome, which is interesting, is the shadow. It's interesting that we have this here because door number 2 is going to reveal that in order to obtain this, the bigger the what's the word? How do they say it? It's kind of like as you come into abundance, the bigger you become, the bigger the shadow you cast, if that makes sense. So as you grow and you rise, collective, as you blossom and bloom here with the Lotus and the Chariot, The higher you rise, the bigger the shadow you will cast. So, understanding that, though, and how to respond with grace, okay? Grace and dignity, knowing that you've been through so much here that you can see the shadow. You can see your own shadow at this point. As you've risen so big, you can actually see, I feel like you have a vantage point of your own shadow. Like she could literally just turn around and see it. It's this awareness of being that I feel like we're coming into, collective. It's you can see it. You know what it is, so you know that people around you who have not gone through this journey yet are gonna feel some kind of way. They're gonna feel triggered by your essence of being, okay? Of being. And I know this for a fact because following the shadow, we have the Six of Cups to the Devil in reverse, the Three of Swords, and the Ace of Swords. Holy shit. Okay. Okay. Let's talk. Let's talk about it. Oh yeah. So, as you're moving into the energy of the Empress Divine Femme, you're going to naturally cast a very big shadow. You're going to get some shade, in other words. You cast this really big shadow back down at the world, right? And so energies from the past will feel triggered. And it causes even a sense of fear in others because they see you and they don't know how you got to where you got. How did you do that? It's like magic, okay? How did you do that? People don't see the journey that you went on to get here. And thank you, by the way, for those of you who have stayed stayed this far in the reading and didn't click off. If anything is serving you right now, guys, don't forget to leave a like on the video. I do appreciate you. Anyway, the bigger the shadow you cast, the more you're going to come into these energies of people, friendships, things that could have been very toxic, right? You're causing people to have to deal with their own shadow energy. The shadow is also kind of here twice with the devil. Thankfully in reverse, but it's this energy of the past, things that didn't serve you, ways that didn't. I can't channel all that at once. Okay. Your light is going to cast such a big shadow that it's going to be hard for people to see how you did it. Alright? And that's kind of the point. You're meant to help others teach it at some point. You're meant to teach and help others learn this, right? For those of you who resonate with that. At some point. But you got to go through it first. It's this energy of having to go through it before you can teach it, before you can know it. But once you know it, you're not afraid of it. And I think I've talked about that in the last 3 readings I did on the channel. This understanding of the shadow side, especially for Libra, especially I was feeling, and that reading really, we have a lot of Libra energy here too, by the way. It's this eradication of this pain, okay? With fire. Beating fire with air. Air and fire. It's really interesting. The next fire season could be very significant for some of you, which is going to be Leo. I feel like that's what starts late July into August. So I feel like that the next, and maybe even around the 8/8 portal I'm also getting, the next fire season could be very significant to some of you. And the dog here, again, the wolf here is represented in fire over the Ace of Swords. And it's eradication, though, of this pain in the heart space that you guys, if you're not eradicating this out of yourself, it's what you're causing others to have to eradicate within themselves just to be near you is also kind of what I feel. It's so weird. All right, where am I going with this? Okay. Underlying the entire reading, we have this union. So it has to do with some sort of a relationship. Business, romantic, or otherwise. The relationships, period, that we have in this life. Everything that we do, okay? It's going to require you to first confront the shadow within you in order to have meaningful relationships. So think what you want about institutionalized versions of marriage, what that means to you, okay? I can go ahead and tell you, none of them are going to be significant to you until you first kind of identified what it even looks like for yourself. What do you want? There's a question here I feel like being asked of, what do you want? Many of you already know this, and you're just fighting to have it recognized. The shadow is past this iron door of hierarchy, of higher authorities that already are in place, that be, the powers that be, that control this. And when you rise above said situation, said authority, said powers, you cast this major shadow, and it's like there's a magnifying glass being put on the situation, and people have to see it and contend, well, we have to address it now, don't we? We have to address what we've been seeing. Yeah? Okay. Clarifying the union and what we want that to look like moving forward. Because clarifying the union card, we have the Wheel of Fortune, 2, the Moon in reverse, and the 6 of Swords in reverse. The change, right? This blending of the old guard and the new guard with the moon here, the dog and the wolf. Secrets, unknowns, our fears being revealed. That fear is not so much of an unknown anymore because we're looking at it. And there's this, and it's also about the subconscious. Again, some of this is not, it's not apparent. It wasn't apparent until you stepped in the room, collective, and you put a light on it. You put a magnifying glass to it. You pointed it out. So for those of you who are in these positions of power and authority yourself, it's like something to do maybe with your voice as well, to call these things out where you see them. So for those of you who are, again, you have a queen here, like you're in some sort of position of authority through all the experience that you've gained. Maybe you have platforms, maybe you have whatever, and you are using your voice to either teach or to call out what you see, injustices that you see. And maybe there's a sense of just needing to do that. The entire energy of the Divine Feminine just needs to do that. All right? Because there needs to be a change in this system. Whatever the fuck it is. I don't even know. 6 of Swords in reverse. Needing to be guided away from a bad situation. In reverse, why? I'm not sure. Because it's like it's not happening. Maybe it's not happening for the collective right now. There's something again, or it's not happening yet. June, this month is going to be very significant for a lot of people. I feel a lot of you, I don't know. I'm surprised Justice isn't out here. Okay, we've got a lot of Capricorn here. We've got Taurus, Libra. We've got Scorpio. A lot of water here. I feel like all the water is here. Cancer, Pisces, Scorpio. Pisces heavily. Doesn't matter. What fixed signs in the Wheel of Fortune. A lot of Cancer. Maybe there's a lot of even... There's guidance that's needed, but it will be revealed. I feel like this ripple effect, this wave has been sent out, but it's like it hasn't caught up to you yet. Underlying all of this, we have the Page of Pentacles. This new seed, a seed has been planted. 5 of Wands after that. It will be hard won, hard fought. But I feel like it's almost like training, because we have this figure standing off to the side here, not participating in any of the dueling, and there's a bee's nest, a honeybee's nest. Bees could be very significant. You could be seeing them. Someone's standing off to the side. It's like this old knowledgeable person knows I don't have to contend in the fighting. I don't have to even take part in the struggle here, in the fight. I know that eventually, and these people are all blinded, they can't see, right? They don't see what they're really doing or what they're really engaging in. But at some point, one of these sticks is going to knock down this nest. And when that happens, I will have access to the honey that's available. Some of you are literally strategizing that way. That's funny. Someone knows that if they just stay quiet and off to the side, and maybe it's just this kind of the quiet observer, right? Become the quiet observer. Eventually, this conflict, these 4 wands will create some sort of structure, or they will knock down the opposing force or the perceived problem, right? Or the juice, right? The honey is just waiting to be knocked down here. Someone knows they don't have to work so hard for it. They don't. They can stand back and watch and let these people fight it out. Because what these people don't understand is like, and they're blindfolded so they don't see, they don't understand. In their fighting, in their competition, whatever that looks like, they're stirring up the nest. And those bees will sting. They will sting to protect the nest. And this person on the outside knows that. So why am I going to engage in a conflict that I already know there's a lose-lose situation here? Okay, if I want to get this seed, I have to stand back from the conflict and let it resolve itself. There's some aspect of that that's important. Queen of Cups after that. Wow. Thank you guys. Holy crap. 40-minute reading here. Over 40 minutes. Thank you guys for participating in this very long reading. All right. Advice, please, for the collective. You know what's funny? It didn't even hit me. And I was talking about the 8-8 portal. And I actually have Ishtar, Lionsgate, 8-8, sitting here, and it didn't even click. I tell you, August, the 8-8 portal is going to be significant for many of you. Something about that energy. Okay. Or Leo. Advice, please, for the collective. Thank you. 5 of Wands in reverse. 5 of Wands in reverse. Let go of the strife. Two of Swords in reverse. The old guard, the old ways of doing things, the old ways of handling things don't apply, and they can't apply. There's some clarity you have about that, collective. You see that. You have a loyal guardian also, I feel like, at your disposal. Energies that were trying to sneak up on your back. Oh, I forgot to tell you, some decision you will make. 5-5, 5-5. I was drawn to the candle and the shoe, and I got the movie Candle Shoe in my mind. Candle Shoe. Which I believe stars Jodie Foster as the version I'm thinking of stars Jodie Foster. That could be significant to some of you. 444 on the thing. Wow. Okay. Jodie Foster, that could be significant to some of you. And why was I thinking about Jodie Foster? I randomly thought of Jodie Foster the other day. It came up in a movie that I'd seen her in called, with Richard Gere, called Summersby. And I think I had seen it on Netflix, or I'd seen it once as a kid, but I was reminded of that movie for some reason, and I think they had it on Netflix for a little while. It may even still be there. I don't know. It was Summersby. And there was a line from the movie, and especially since we're talking about the divine feminine, the institution of marriage. Anyway, really quickly. In that movie, okay, this is during the Civil War. Richard Gere goes off to war. When he comes back, you know, he's a property owner, whatever. His wife, he didn't leave, obviously, on very good terms with his wife, and the version of him that she remembers is not the version that returns. And there seems to be some question about his identity and who he really is. Anyway. Okay, cut story short, they're in a court scene, and it's about him having to prove who he is and his identity. And she's up there trying to defend him, saying that she actually is in love with him now because, and how does she know? Because she did not love the man he was. She does not love him the same way, or she didn't love him, her husband, her ex-husband, the way that she loves him. And it's something about the way she says that, and that, or that line in the movie, that stuck out to me. This old version of you, I'm willing to embrace a new version of love with you, because you're not the person you used to be, or your lover isn't, something like that. I don't know. Anyway, I was drawn to that movie. Maybe Candle Shoe is also an important movie for somebody out there. Okay. I know we have a really long reading here, guys. Sorry about that. I do want to read. I want to read a card for you, though. I want to read a White Light Oracle card. I would read you the Ishtar Lionsgate card, but I kind of feel like that's not your message quite yet, if that makes sense. This is very random, as you can see. I appreciate you all. Thank you. Okay. Receiving and receptivity. Okay. What is the message, please, for the collective? What is the message for the collective? Ooh, too much. One card, please. Don't get distracted. Okay, stay focused. Thank you. Okay. We have the Oracle of Chaldea. Beautiful. The Oracle of Chaldea. I'm going to read you this card. Number 37. Could be important. Okay. All right, here we go. Collective. Oracle of Chaldea. There we go. All right. Continue on your healing journey with enthusiasm, but without forcing things to happen more quickly than feels natural. Sometimes the body will be ready to let go whilst the mind is still holding on. At other times, the mind may need to be patient as the body processes an experience. Trust in your own timing and rhythm. There's no need to be impatient or to judge yourself. You are summoning the spiritual fortitude to tackle an issue which has previously held you back. When the time is right, the healing shall happen more easily than if you tried to push forward prematurely. Things are going to work out. Be positive. There are times when being present in the body and feeling our truth is challenging. We may be unsure how to hold space for our own emotional and psychological states. Humans are complex creatures, and the authentic healing journey requires us to have patience with ourselves. We need to know when it is safe to delve into a matter with full faith that, even if things feel out of control, we are connected to a powerful, supportive, spiritual network and our own wisdom. And that's enough to handle whatever arises, even if we tremble somewhat during the process. We can imagine that the wounded self lives in a room in the mansion of our soul. When that room has not been entered in a long time, it may have become a scary place in our minds. A scary place like the shadow work that we're doing here, the 2 doors that you're having to walk through. A place even to avoid. That is part of how humans protect themselves. Living in such a split and defended state is not tenable forever. But for a time it can serve a useful purpose, allowing us to build the strength and awareness we need to address the situation. We do what we can to grow and prepare to enter that room, to open it and rescue the beautiful aspect of our soul that's been waiting for such a time to come. To prepare for such a heroic healing moment, we can connect with the spiritual realms of light as a source of love and strength. During such downtime with the divine, we can learn about ourselves beyond our wounded parts. While we know we have some healing to do, we also understand that alongside our vulnerability there is courage, wisdom, and confidence. By acknowledging our wounds and also affirming our strengths, we ready ourselves to take our next steps. When this oracle comes to you, it is an encouragement to rely on the light. Embrace practices that help you feel connected to the light. Grow your trust in the spirit within you. This is not about ignoring where you need healing. It is about knowing at a deep level that you are loved, spiritually guided, divinely held, worthy, and capable of healing. As your trust in the spiritual light within you and your connection to the spiritual world increases, so too will your readiness to acknowledge and engage with that which needs healing. You'll feel safe and supported and ready to move on. You may feel your relationship with Spirit is already strong enough to support such a process. In this case, the oracle is an encouragement to embrace your readiness and allow the grace of your spiritual journey to expand in all areas of your life. This oracle augurs a spiritual growth spurt, a forward leap on your path of healing and awakening. It is a reminder that no matter how large a challenge may loom, you can continue to grow your spiritual connection, so it is always more powerful than anything else. There is a healing on this card, collective, but I will not read it to you. If you are drawn to practice this healing, I encourage you to look up this oracle yourself, and it will tell you. It's funny how I always get energy kind of thrown at my eye when I'm channeling important information for you. So I know this is powerful. It could just be tears that maybe even some of you were shedding. The Eye of Horus, that was what I was immediately thought of. It has to do, again, with your spiritual sight. And collective, that is what I have for you. I know this was a long message. I really hope something in here did help you. Okay. And if so, thank you for watching. I will see you in future readings. Thank you for those of you who spend time on the channel, who watch the videos all the way through. If you're watching my ads, I appreciate you. That is just another way that you can help to support White Crow Tarot. Other ways, of course, are by leaving your good loving energy on the channel with a like, subscribe to the channel. Donations and tips are also welcome if you are feeling the need. Also, guys, just be careful. I don't have this problem yet. But be careful with spammers and things like that out there. I do not solicit you and will never solicit you ever for a reading. You have to contact me for one, and the only way to do that is at my website, which is down below in the description. Please know, I will never contact you. You have to contact me. Alright? Feel free to follow me on my social channels and platforms that are also down below, links in the description. Guys, I am sending you all so much love, and I hope you're well. Thank you for sitting through this channeled collective message, and I hope it finds who it needs to find at this time. Alright? Thank you. Talk soon.